So, how do you make sure that you're making progress when you're learning Spanish? I understand that most of you are learning Spanish on your own. You don't have a coach or a teacher to keep track of your progress. So, I'm just going to introduce you to one super simple concept. This is basically all I did as someone who learned Spanish on my own. So, before I introduce the concept, I'll ask you a question. Have you ever listened to a song in Spanish where you know certain parts of the song and you don't know what they're saying in other parts? Maybe you know what this line says, you know what this line says, but the line in between you don't know what they're saying. Well, I'll tell you from personal experience, you can listen to that line 10 times, 20 times, even 100 times, and never end up catching on to what they're saying. Until you actually read the lyrics, you look up the words you don't know, you understand the reason why the grammar is the way it is, you won't actually know what they're saying, and you won't have actually learned anything new. Now, it's happened to me sometimes where I'll listen to a song, and on the 57th listen, I'll get a part of the song that I hadn't gotten before. But it took me 57 listens, so it would have been better to just look it up from the first listen. And the benefit of that is, if you really like the song and you keep listening to it over and over, if you look up the lyrics from the beginning, then you have the lyrics in your mind as you listen to it. Then every single time you listen to the song, the words get more and more ingrained in your mind. And so you probably know that repetition is one of the best ways to learn. And so if you're repeating a song over and over and you don't bother to look up the lyrics, then you're just missing out on an opportunity. But anyways, that's all besides the point. The main point of this video about how to know if you're making progress is the fact that if you're listening to a song over and over again hoping to learn passively, it's not going to happen. The only time the progress is made is when you feel like you actually had to work for it. So you actually had to look up on Google, what are the lyrics? What are they saying? What does that word mean? Why is it structured the way it is? How does it make sense? How is it saying what it says it's saying? Only by doing that, only by putting actual effort in, only by actually feeling like you struggled to gain knowledge, only then are you making progress. A lot of people hear about the method of passive learning and they think they can just put a song in their head or in their ears, go to the gym, work out, have it playing in the background, and expect to learn something that way, where in reality you're not learning anything. Even if you learn a little bit, you're learning like 1 or 2% of what you would actually be learning if you were actively paying attention and studying. So passive learning is a myth, don't rely on it. It would be the same thing like going to the gym and expecting to build muscle while passively lifting, like just lifting until you feel a little bit of discomfort and then putting the weight down, or getting somebody else to lift the weight for you so that you can passively sit there in the gym. That would be ridiculous, and it's the same thing with learning a language. The muscle only comes after you felt like you worked for it, after you hit failure, after you actually struggled. So think of learning Spanish in the same way. You have to hit failure, you have to hit points where you don't know what's going on, where you don't know what's being said, and you have to struggle through that. You have to push through it, you have to look it up, you have to understand why the grammar is the way it is, and actually put the effort into getting over that obstacle. That's like hitting failure in the gym. So the more you do that, the more progress you'll make. And of course, everyone wants to avoid that because that's where the pain is, but no pain, no gain.